Ooh, what up, no? We are back. This is Knockouts and Three Counts. You and your eyes are not deceiving you. We had a brief hiatus as I've been dealing with some family issues, but we are back and we've got fights to talk about. XFC is coming back to Detroit this Friday at the Masonic Temple. We've got the return of our guy, Kenny the Boss Cross. But before I get to that, I got to tell you about the fine sponsors of this show. Potter's Tree Service, who, as you can see by that loud-ass music, they can get the job done when it comes to the trees. If you're in need for tree removal, tree trimming, chipping service, storm damage cleanup, walnut logging, or lot clearing, Potter's Tree Service is the way to go. Make sure you check them out. Tell them Knockouts and Three Counts sent you. You don't need to hacksaw Jim Duggan. Just hit up Asa, Potter's Tree Service. They'll get you together. Enjoy the show as the boss returns.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and Three Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and Three Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and Three Counts starts now.
And just like that, after a brief hiatus, Knockouts and Three Counts does return to your airwaves, and we've got fights to talk about. Not only am I going to be on the mic this weekend at Lights Out Championship, tonight's guest, the return of our guy, Kenny the Boss Cross, will be making his return to the cage back in the XFC this Friday at the Masonic Temple down in Detroit. Kenny, how the fuck you feeling, my man?
Ooh, I mean, I got 4 more pounds to cut, so I'm feeling pretty good, pretty enthused on how my weight cut has gone, and the dieting and everything's the hardest part. So, you know, tomorrow we get to wake up, weigh in at 10, rehydrate, and I'm excited to have the family and friends come out and hydrate with me and just get some food in me. So,
just like that. So, dude, you know, you talk about weight cuts. You mean to tell me you don't eat Twinkies and all that shit all day to make yourself look like that?
man, when I was 24, maybe, back when I was a younger boy.
He said
What,
back when I was
what
a
do
younger
you walk
boy.
around at, Kenny?
Honestly, I'm only walking around like 170 to 174. So pretty light for me, but my body still hates me every time that I get it down to like 63. It really starts to tell me what it thinks about me. So, yeah.
Hey, man,
Weight
it's a
cut-
good
weight
thing
cuts
because
can't be
he's
easy,
still
too.
big at 155.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
never
I'm
personally
strong
had to
enough.
cut weight, so.
I go with guys that are bigger than me, and you know, everyone at Extremes let me know how strong I am. I mean, they all say that I'm a fake white guy. All the Brazilians and stuff, they go, "You fake white guy," and I'm like from the waist down, baby.
Hey, man, I see what you did there. But, hey, man, that leads right into something I wanted to talk about anyway. You know, the last time we got to talk, you were kind of new into your transition over at Extreme Couture. Now that you've gotten to be over there a little bit and now have, you know, been around, been able to rehab an injury and now make your way back to the cage, talk to me about training there. What have been some of the big pros for you going over there? And do you feel like it's the right fit for you?
Yeah, so for my last fight, I had a couple weeks in Vegas to train, and obviously that wasn't the best camp, and I couldn't get my conditioning where I wanted it to. I have the talent, but to be able to go into deep waters with people that are just as talented and work hard, I have to be around these guys, and I have to pay my dues. So I've been there for over a year now, and even I tore my rotator cuff or slightly sprained it. It was pretty bad. And I rehabbed that, and even while I was rehabbing it, I was still sparring, I was still wrestling. I had external rotation problems, but internal grappling was more clamping down, so it didn't affect me. And I was sparring using my jab, using my right hook, and a lot of kicks and wrestling. So I'm a left-handed fighter, and my ace in the hole was taken from me, so I got to really focus and really dial in all my other tools. So, you know, I've had plenty of compliments about how crisp my jab is from, you know, amazing fighters such as Mads Burnell, who's been someone that I try to level up to him. I always watch him, and I try to get it in with him as much as I can without getting my ass whooped as bad as I do sometimes. But there's a lot of really good guys over there. There's a guy, I don't think I can speak about it, but he's on the new Ultimate Fighter, and he's really good as well. I mean, 45, 55, 70s, there's really good bodies, and that's kind of what I was lacking back in Michigan. It wasn't so much my coaches, but it was just the guys that had that criteria and that experience and those skill sets. So I fit right in, man. I make jokes now. It's, you got to earn your way in there. And for my last camp, I was sparring old people that didn't even fight, and girls, and like Natan Levy's and all them. They don't go with you until they can trust you and until they get to know you a little bit. So I've been able to get my way in there, Patchy Mix, sparring with all kinds of guys that are just have seen it all, and they can give me good feedback. And the coaches, again, my coaches have never yes man me, but at Extreme, definitely no yes man. Like, a lot of people are there for themselves, and you got to find a good group of, guys to push yourself, and just know that the coaches are watching, and you keep showing up to practice, and you keep putting that work in, they're watching. And I've gotten, finally, Nick Sick has told me, like, yo, I see you working, but it's not like we're hitting mitts with them all the time. It's really just getting grimy with the 55ers up in the hot room, grappling and pushing yourself into those deep waters where it's really heavy grappling based, which is awesome. I'm glad I'm getting back into that, because being a wrestler, I try to stray away from the wrestling and get these knockouts. But as you saw in my last fight, like, people like to grab me, people want to wrestle. So I've been working with some really good wrestlers, really good jiu-jitsu technicians, and getting some nice submissions to where, like my coach Chris said, kind of unfolds a new chapter and kind of shows me that I'm in the right place, where you can take a deep breath and go, all this work is getting me to where I want it to be, and chasing my dreams and becoming one with everything that I've set out to do since I was 19 when I first started. So I couldn't be happier. I fit right in. I love the coaching. I love everyone that I get to compete with and practice with. They have a really, really nice structured practice, and you don't have to think about much. You just go in there, and you're going to battle, and you better come in there hydrated and have your food and everything, and and just get after it for an hour, and then come back and do another session later. And yeah, I love it. It's doing really well. It's working wonders on me.
I'm excited to see what we're going to see inside this cage this Friday for XFC. But with that being said, man, like you said, your last fight was with the number 2 big organization, really, and Bellator, even though Bellator and PFL are together now. But I always considered Bellator to be the number 2. Talk to me about that fight. What are your thoughts in hindsight on that one, as you got a good opponent in Achilles Mota and definitely had your moments in that fight? What were your thoughts on your experience over there in Bellator?
Right after the fight, I thought I looked like shit. I didn't think I landed a single punch. But on the bus ride back home, I got to watch the video, and I'm like, whoa, I reversed him. I took his back. He kept initiating the wrestling, and I kept turning it around on him. He had a really fast kick that kind of started the injury to my shoulder. He's a really strong, really big, and really dialed in, and he has a family that he's fighting for, and his discipline and his reasoning for fighting might have been greater than mine. But, as I mature, all that's coming to the forefront and really showing me what I'm here to do. And I think I did well. I think my talent was better. I think I landed a nice shot. I hit him with a jab that I saw his eyes just go in the back of his head. But the conditioning wasn't there. I was obviously, they say I make excuses or whatever, but I know what I can do, and I know what I put into training, and it wasn't that much, because I was coming off the Ultimate Fighter, sitting in a room for 2 weeks, going across the country, trying to make new friends with really scary fighters, in the gym. And I had a really tough seasoned vet that I had to go up against. I did my best. It was a move that I decided to make. I know right now, I think I could make it to that 3rd round and keep the pressure on him and take that fight from him for sure. But, that's spilt milk, and we're not going to cry about it. We just keep going. And this guy in front of me on Friday is going to see that it's not going to be fun in there for him.
I like it. Well, that leads into the other thing. Like I mentioned, we're getting back to you fighting again in XFC. First of all, talk to me about fighting for XFC, since you got to fight there under the old regime, and now we've got new matchmakers. I found out that Big E is on the from WWE's on the board for XFC. You know, you got a whole new crop of dudes in here. What are your thoughts on being back inside the XFC steel?
It's interesting. When I first fought there, we got to go to Atlanta, Georgia, had a cool venue. They get me fights and they get me good opponents and people that, you know, might be a good matchup for me, and they pay well. So all that kind of stuff really excites me. They got new owners and everything. Everybody's pissed off about me for fighting for XFC. I lost sponsors. Friendo won't text me back. You know, everyone's just, Kenny, what are you doing? Where's your principles? And I'm like, I'm trying to feed my fucking family. I'm trying to make it to the top. I haven't fought in forever. I've asked numerous promoters to get me fights months before anything, and no one can get me anything. So here I am, and, you know, you want to hate me, go for it. But when I'm at the top of the UFC, they're going to be like, yo, I was with that kid. You know, I gave him this. I started with him, and it is what it is. I think XFC is interesting. I think new owner or not, we all got fucked with the past not getting paid, or I got my money, but, you know, the stocks that they gave us, I didn't get any of that. So you can't just hold resentment in your heart. You got to keep moving forward. You know, people make mistakes. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm excited to compete. They have a cool roster. They have a bunch of, like, you know, former UFC fighters and good, like a badass welterweight. Bobby Nash was just calling me like, dude, this looks interesting. Like, dang, bro, like he might come back out of retirement. It's a good, I mean, it's a promotion, and I get to fight in Detroit. I get to, all my family gets to come and see me, my friends, everybody. I've never been to the Masonic Temple. Again, they put on good shows. They have cool lights, and I'm here to be in the center of those lights and make it bigger and badder. So the face of XSC is back.
I like it. I like it. Well, with that being said, talk to me about your opponent. I was doing some digging. You're going to be fighting a guy named Emilio Chavez. What do you know about him? How do you feel about this fight, and how do you see it playing out?
So Emilio Chavez, he's 13-11, which off the bat shows me he has experience. It also shows me that he breaks. I've watched a few of his fights. A lot of them are a decade or later. But he normally fights at 145, and no 45ers can touch me. You're too small. You're too weak. You can come up to 55. Mads Burnell is the only 45er that is close. It could beat me, and he's a 55er now. So these 45ers, it's just, when I fought Dana White Contender Series, I fought a 10-0 45er who moved up to 55, and I was partying, had to cut weight twice, and, you know, I was young and undisciplined, and I still put it to him 3 rounds in a row when he was the grappler that everyone thought he would submit me, and I had no conditioning, and I still put it on him. So I think it's going to be a long night for him. I think it's a favorable matchup for me. I know he was a former Marine, so I'm going to give him his respects, and I'm going to let him know thank you for the sacrifice that you did for our country. You know, there's no animosity, no bad blood. I appreciate him taking the fight. If he wants to be mean to me, that's cool, but it's all respect on my side. It's just, thank God that XFC got me a fight. Thank God that he signed the contract, and he's looking for a fight. I'm looking to give the fans a highlight reel and really put my skills on display and just relax. Sparring at Extreme is scarier than this fight that I'm going into.
How's this fight end?
You know, I was thinking he's either going to be unconscious from strikes, or he's going to tap to a cool submission. I've been working on some nice submissions, or he doesn't tap and goes unconscious from that. It might make it to the second round, but if it doesn't, you know, I kind of see it going that way. So
don't blink.
There it is. Don't blink, man.
Don't blink.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I like it. Well, with that being said, I also know that you, keep up on a lot of stuff that's going in the fights, especially with you living out in the fight capital of the world these days. You got to tell me, since we were talking about it the last time you were on here, what are your thoughts now that we're finally getting the return of Conor McGregor on this one?
Casey, my wife just called me. What was that?
What up, though, Casey? I was saying, with that being said, I know you're a fight connoisseur like us. So, with you being out there in Vegas, what are your thoughts on the return of McGregor?
It's exciting. They have 4 exciting cards coming up. Me and my coach Chris were just talking about McGregor being in the club, and if he's pulling a Kanye, even though people say it's a
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Beat me to it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. He's got a lot of explosion, and he's fighting Michael Chandler, who has just as much of explosion. And so, I honestly don't know how it's going. He's been out of the fight game for so long, and it's basically his fault that I didn't make it on the Ultimate Fighter. So he hasn't been my favorite person anymore. But hopefully he can knock out Michael Chandler, and I can be excited about him again.
It's crazy. There's a lot of people are saying that too. It's not like we're not really talking about the fight itself. Like people want to get Conor back to where Conor was, and personally, I was a huge Conor fan. I still am, but I just don't think that the appeal is there anymore. After all we saw, it was a good chapter. It was a good chapter of the book, but we're kind of past it. If you ask me.
And again, he did all this great work at 45.
Yes.
If you can make 45. You're not a true 155er. I don't care how much weight you put on afterwards. You should stay at 45 and keep staying at 45 because it's a different ballgame with the 55ers, just like it is with the 70ers and so on.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because we got to chop it up with Michael Chandler. If you guys are new here, make sure you check that out and ask him a few questions about this. But, the thing that's interesting with that matchup to me, too, is that, for all intents and purposes, you would think somebody like McGregor that's been out of the cage on an injury as long as he has, is a fight like a guy like Chandler, a good fight for him. But when you really think about it, it's a tailor-made matchup for Conor, too, because even though Chandler could wrestle him and beat him a lot easier than he's going to do on the feet, we all know that's not how Michael Chandler fights. It's just... That's not going to be how this fight goes. I just can't see this being the fight where he tries to, wrestle with him. So obviously at some point we're going to be in a stand-up and exchange. And I mean, if there's one thing that Conor's always had, it reminds me a lot of the things that we've seen Israel Adesanya say, and saying things like precision beats power and things like that. I could see this being a good matchup for Conor, and the fact that Conor was always a good counter fighter. So. All in all, I feel like this fight's gonna sell crazy pay-per-view. They said that the cheapest ticket to get in that motherfucker was over $1,000.
Yeah,
for like the bleeds.
I read that it's already like at record numbers for the gate, right?
Well, dude, they're $12,000 for seats on the fucking floor.
We're selling tickets for XFC, $10, buy one get one free.
There you go.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's it's just crazy because you're just like, holy shit,
that's
dude.
pretty crazy.
That's a lot of money. I mean, don't get me wrong, WrestleMania might be headed that way.
That's still just off the appeal of Conor McGregor. It's
right.
It's a wild thing. Yeah, man. You gotta respect it.
Look at all the stuff they've been talking since he announced the whole thing with him being part of the BKFC thing. Like, I mean, that was an instant shot in the arm for them. Now we'll have to see it over time if it really does anything. But like I said, like you said, that his name still has drawing power. But I tell you, this is as must win a fight as Conor's probably ever had in his career. Because if he comes back and Michael Chandler beats him, like, you're not getting back to the title. You're not like, I mean, I feel like this is going to be the last one for Conor, and then we'll see what happens. Now, here's the question. Do you think now that he's involved in BKFC like that, could you see him fight in bare knuckle?
Oh, yeah, he's Irish. I feel like those guys bare knuckle fought their whole lives.
Dude, him versus Mike Perry, that would sell. That'd be ridiculous.
Mike Perry would fucking kill him.
I would love to see it.
He's so built for that.
Lie, dude. I would love to see that.
Dude is so built for that.
He is, though.
Tailor-made for that sport, dude, for BKFC.
Dude, he made $600,000 off of 1 minute against Thiago Alves. That's the kind of paydays I need in my life. Damn it.
Right,
I need those kind of paydays, and we'd be talking. But speaking of paydays, man, all the hard work is finally also paid off for this guy, man. Another matchup that I'm looking forward to that I'm sure you're going to be watching, too. What do you think on Bilal Muhammad finally getting this title shot, bro?
That's cool. I think Leon Edwards pokes him in the eye again.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, one of his eyes
put
like
that
over
shit
there
in the
now.
air, dog.
Wouldn't that be some shit, man? After
His
all
eye is jacked up still. It's like floating over there.
Hey, man, he can still take people down, all right.
That was arguably the nastiest eye
Dude,
poke.
he's training with Khabib and all them, so
yeah.
you know.
I'm glad
I've
he
said
finally
it-
got his title shot, though. I mean, it's past due, right? I mean,
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm really happy for him. Like he deserves it. He doesn't have the look. That's what I'm getting at. Is that they just keep ripping it away from him because his feet are so flat and wide, and he just doesn't have the look. You know, but just like with Khabib, they kept it from him for a long time. Habib, whatever. He had to go run through everybody until they gave him the shot. If you don't have the look, good luck getting there. And, you know, thank God that they finally get everyone else. Like, he kept running through everybody. There's no one left. You have to give it to him. Like,
I'll tell you, though, it does. Am I the only one that also kind of felt like, you know, this guy's been deserved a title shot for like how long? But of course, when he finally gets the title shot, okay, we're going to give you the title shot, but you got to go fight him in England.
on his home turf. Stack the cards
yeah, fuck
bit.
you. Main event, they're all going to boo the shit out of you. You got to go fight him in England.
Yeah.
But here you go. Here's your title shot.
it's even a bigger win, though, if he wins. You know, it's a greater win.
Dude, I think there's so much more chance to that happening than people want to give credit. Because, I mean, dude, I'm not by any means saying that Leon Edwards isn't a dog because I've been singing his praises for years, dude. But, like, I don't know. There's something about a guy who just keeps getting it stuck to him each time where when that guy finally gets a chance, man, I'm telling you, don't sleep on fucking Bilal Muhammad. I'm really interested to see that. And then you got Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blades on that one. And I mean, even though Curtis Blades is good, I think Tom Aspinall is going to destroy.
They already fight?
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
They did fight once, I believe.
Oh, he got hurt.
Yeah, that was
when
the
he
one
hurt
where
his knee, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was watching that.
Good call.
Yeah.
That's true. It's going to be a good fight, but I'm telling you, dude, I feel like Aspinall is like the guy at heavyweight, really. Even though Jones got the title right now,
Yeah.
that Aspinall's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him fight, no matter who it is. Like, he's building interest in me, that's for sure.
And he's well-rounded. He's one of the most well-rounded heavyweights I've seen in a while. Like, he can knock dudes out, but he's not a slouch as far as being able to defend a takedown and all that kind of stuff, too. So I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. I think Aspinall wins, and then either John Jones is going to beat up Stipe and retire, or it'll be them next. But
I can't wait for that fight.
Do you guys think that Jones will fight him, though? Because a lot of people are saying they think he'll retire if he beats Stipe.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good guess. Like, he could ride out into the sunset.
He could.
You get to be older, and you know your life changes. You don't really want the same things, and he's got all the star power. He's got all the credentials, all the belts, all the money, all the beat up wives. He's got everything.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, we've been talking about this for a long time, Kyle. You got to be active. You got to, for me to love you as a champion, you got to be active and you got to walk the straight and narrow like a true champion. And I'll be honest with you, dude, John Jones just don't do that for me. So, you know, it is what it is. The facts are the facts, bro. You're a hell of a fighter, might be the greatest of all time, but you're kind of a dick too. So it is what it is.
I mean, I can't argue that he's the best of all time now. I may not like all of his antics and stuff like that, but I mean, especially if he goes in there and beats Stipe, and if he does fight Aspinall, I mean, dude, if he beats Stipe and then does beat Aspinall too, like, I mean, there ain't really shit you can say, because then at that point he's like killed everybody in the heavyweight division too.
Pretty much. But I think Aspinall would be the final. Like,
I agree.
Fight. You got.
I agree. I think that'd be the perfect.
Be the one that's never going to go away, right? If he retires after Stipe, they're like, well, you never fought Aspinall, you know, and that's gonna a guy like John Jones is gonna pick at him, kind of like the Daniel Cormier thing was. He didn't have to fight Cormier again. John Jones had to fight Cormier again up here. So I don't think he's going to get away with retirement. He's going to have to fight Tom Aspinall too.
I like it. All right. Well, we got people asking about it in the comments, although I know that fight would never happen. You're as good a person as any to ask about this because, like I mentioned, this Saturday, Wayne Hype Athletic Center, I will be on the call for Lights Out Championship. People are saying, what about a match with you and Bashy? I said, I don't think he's going to 135, but what are your thoughts on Austin Bashy fighting this weekend, moving up to 145? I heard he got a new opponent, but he's another guy that's going to be on them ranks with you soon up there in the UFC and Bellator and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. He's already about surpassing me, and I love that. That's my little brother, man. He moved up to 45, and that shows right there his courage and his belief in himself and his team. And I think he smashes at 145. There's no reason for him to go up to 55. And if I don't lose 10 pounds of muscle, I'll never make 45. So I doubt I ever go down there. Again, me and Austin Bashi, we're like brothers. I love the kid, and he's really talented. He'll be in the UFC by next year at least. If he wants to, it's up to him. I think the world is his oyster. He can do whatever he wants. And just like you said about John Jones, and same with Connor, unlike them, Bashi's a good person outside the cage, and I find more respect and more love towards those kinds of people that really walk that line and follow Jesus Christ and try to work to be the best person they can be. Bashi and I would never fight. Hopefully we fight on the same card together. I just like to watch him continue to win. Not saying that I'd beat him, but he's the man, and all credit, all due respect to that kid. He's going to go out and smash. I'm just glad I found him an opponent.
Hell yeah, man. I am too, because they are going to be hot and heavy there in Wayne, Michigan for Austin Bashi this weekend, especially with him and Carlo fighting on the same card again. It's about to get gnarly in this bitch.
His brother's on there too.
Yeah, dude, they're good people, and I wish the best for them. I know that they leave no stones unturned, and they put the sweat and the tears and the blood in the gym to go out there and really get what's theirs, and believing in God and trusting in Him and allowing Him who gave us our talents and allowed us to be here and do what we do. It just gives you more power and more strength, and gives you a good avenue for when you leave the UFC, when you leave MMA, into your next chapter of your life, next season. So, there's going to be a really good future for him, and I look forward to when I'm 40 and we can kind of hang out, and, we're not in the gym separated across the world. I can come back and really see the guys that stuck with me and believed in me and didn't talk shit about me, and we can go and have, sit around a bonfire and watch our kids spar, shit like that.
I like it. Circle, man. Sitting around the campfire, roundhouse kicks, kumbaya, we're doing all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, fuck man. Yeah, I need some kumbaya in my life right now. So with that being said, man, if you've got any last thoughts on your fight this Friday for XFC, or any last words for your opponent, the floor is yours, and let everybody know where they can check out the fight.
Hey, brother, God bless you for taking this fight and being healthy and in the right mindset to show up on fight night. And here we are. We're in Detroit, going to the Masonic Temple, fighting for XFC, getting paid well. It's going to be a big event. A lot of people are going to show up. We're going to make a lot of people happy. And that's about it, man. God bless. Show up. Get ready. Get this weight off you. Let's rehydrate and let's go give the people what they want.
There
you heard it. Don't blink.
Before we go on an unserious note, I gotta know. I know you're going through a weight cut, and this is probably one of the hardest things you want to talk about. And this is probably tough for you. I gotta know, after the weight cut, after the fight, after everything's all said and done, where you going to eat, man? You gonna get a Detroit Coney or something? What's your first meal gonna look like?
I want to go get some Detroit pizza.
There you go, Detroit style pizza, baby.
Yeah, pizza. Fighters and pizza go together like peanut butter and jelly. So I'm gonna go. Yeah. It's Detroit pizza, and we're gonna be downtown. So I'm sure that there's gonna be some slices I've never had before, and like homeboy, the jiu-jitsu guy, Mikey Musumeci. There's something special about pizza.
Hey, you talk about that. We need to introduce Kenny to Luigi Primo, J-Bones.
Ooh, there we go.
Introduce this guy to Luigi Primo, motherfuckers, pro wrestling pizza extraordinaire, chop you over the face with the motherfucking pizza dough. But hey, make sure you ain't getting chopped across in the face by Kenny the Boss Cross this Friday, getting down at XFC. And Daniel Bryan might join us too. And in the next time and in between time, Knockouts and 3 Counts is back. Hit that subscribe button. Peace.